What's up everybody, Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. In this video we're gonna have here with us on the channel iAanG, guys. I'm gonna leave his link in the description down below. Make sure you guys go check him out. Awesome dude, great content. What's up buddy, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so honored to be here, man. I looked at your videos for a long time now, and I'm super happy to be here.
Glad to have you here, brother. Always a pleasure. So guys, in this video, we're gonna cover ally protection. Now, I know it's nothing too new about it because it's been discovered like a couple of months ago. iAanG right here actually made a video on Hell Hades' channel, if I remember it right, which I'm gonna admit I haven't watched yet, right? But I heard from a lot of you guys in comments, Skratch, you're killing your champions with too much crit rate on that, you know? So I wanna have him on the channel to explain us a bit, guys, and give us a better understanding of what exactly is happening with ally protection, crit damage, and how we can actually trick the clan boss and trick the enemy champions to deal less damage on our team, right? So we have a sheet here that he prepared, right? Now, I'm not a mad genius myself, so I'm a bit of a noob. We're gonna be probably in kind of the same situation, all of us here, guys. So we're gonna have him slowly explaining us what exactly is happening with all the damage mitigation that the crit damage and ally protection does in the game, right?
Okay, so can I explain it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can crack on it. Was a moment of silence here, guys.
Well, the first thing that we need to understand in order to understand this ally protection stuff is how damage is dealt. So here we have an example of my Trenda. My Trenda has some masteries, books, and attack, and a multiplier. Each ability in the game has a multiplier. So the damage that my Trenda will deal to the enemies is a multiplication of her attack times the multiplier times the books times the masteries. And if you crit, times the crit damage. So this is the full damage, as we can call it. So the full damage of my Trenda would be like this, and the critical damage would be 155k damage to the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one other thing that is called raw damage, and raw damage is simply attack or defense or HP times the multiplier. And for my Trenda, the raw damage is 31k damage. The thing with ally protection is all of the champions will take the full damage. When they are protected by the ally protection, they will take half of the full damage. Then you apply the defense and the damage mitigation. But I think it is easier to explain without these damage mitigations first.
Mm-hmm.
So the full damage would be 49k. So you can see it here. I have 49k on everyone. So this is the full damage. And this is the sum of all the damage that my team is taking regarding full damage. Yep. This is with ally protection. So each champion is taking half of the full damage. And the guy that is protecting everyone will take the full damage, as he is taking the damage as well. But the damage that he is taking from the ally protections is raw damage. So it is half of the raw damage. So you can see here there is a 18k difference between full damage and raw damage. And this 18k is just gone. It's just disappeared. So
all the damage from books, Heart of Glory, Ruthless Ambush, Bring It Down is kind of sent away, right? Sent into space, basically. Yes. It doesn't exist.
Gone.
So you would say this is just like bad coding from the Plarium, or is some super secret sort of high IQ sort of situation here?
I have what I think, and I have a theory. I think it is just bad coding, but I have a theory that they saw ally protection and they see that ally protection is not that great, because if you were to take full damage from the ally protection, I mean, your ally protector would need to be like insane tank for it to work properly, because it would take, if you can see here, this is the right calculation now, so everyone is taking 25k damage and the ally protection guy is taking 112k. This way, if you would apply the other stuff, books, Heart of Glory, Ruthless Ambush, Bring It Down, and other stuff to this, you would need like 180k HP to survive this damage, at least. So I think maybe someone saw this and, oh, okay, what if we take all of this away and and maybe we can make ally protection a bit more useful, and against arena and other stuff is very useful. You can mitigate a lot of damage, especially on clan boss, as the passive of the clan boss is what makes clan boss deal more and more damage, deal insane damage on turn 50, 80, 100. And ally protection just do not apply this damage. It doesn't count this damage. So half of this insane damage is just gone.
So talking about that, guys, iAanG actually has like a damage calculator for your clan boss. You can see how long your team gets to survive in the clan boss, what sort of damage the clan boss will deal against your team. So that can be very helpful to help you out if you're not building unkillable teams and you want to see how good is your team built, right? Like how far can your team actually go in clan boss? Can you get to 1 key? Can you get near 1 key sort of territory? So that's a very good thing to check out. I will be leaving that in the comments down below as well and in the description to check it out, because it can be very helpful for the majority of you guys to help you out when you're building your clan boss team. It is a bit of an extra work on the side to do, but overall it will be worth it for you to put all the data in to see where your clan boss team will actually stand. So like that you get to improve your team as well and just improve your gameplay, to say like this. So what would be like the clan boss damage on turn 50, for example, just approximately? What you reckon is gonna be?
Yeah, on turn 50, the damage of the clan boss, again, this is without any damage mitigation, would be 1,104,000 damage.
Only, yeah?
This is before any damage mitigation. But when you're talking on clan boss, you're probably building like high defense. You're probably taking some damage mitigation masteries, and you can down this damage to like 40k or 30k, because only just with defense you can mitigate up to 80% of the damage just with defense. If you have 40k 200 defense on your champions, you just with that you mitigate 80% of the damage. So this will become 200,000 damage, and then you apply other stuff, and then you can make it to like 50k, and you can have more health than that. But if you apply ally protection, that is where things get brighter for you, because you take all this passive and this 1 million damage and you ignore it almost at all. So the ally protected will take half of this. So you just mitigate 50% for the protected, and the protector will be only taking from each ally protected champion will only be taking half of this 27k, 28k. 28k is the raw damage of the clan boss. So instead of taking half of the 1 million per champion that it is protecting, we'll take half of 28k per champion that it is protecting.
Understood.
It's just you take 1,070,000 damage and you throw out the window. That's how powerful ally protection is on clan boss.
Yeah. And if you're running a double ally protection, even stronger. And how we have the new set, right? The Guardian set that reduces even more damage, which it sounds pretty crazy, right? To go in and mitigate so much damage. And what is the whole story with the crit damage, for example?
Oh, yeah. And so there is 2 things that you can do to make your ally protection even better. And one of this is about the crit damage. So here I can show you something with crit damage. So when a champion crits, you times the damage times 1 plus the percent of the crit damage. So my Trunda would hit for 50k, and then it is times 3.36. So it will do 165k damage. The thing is, the ally protection champion will take half of the raw damage, but the multiplier for the critical damage, it is not the attacker multiplier. It becomes his own critical damage multiplier. So, for example, my Toragi, instead of him taking half of the raw damage times the critical damage of my Trunda, it will take half of the raw damage times the critical damage of himself. So if you have very low critical damage on your ally protector, he will take way less damage. Like, imagine the difference between 133% critical damage and 236% of critical damage. It is way less damage. And you can see here I have the sum of all the damage with no ally protection. Everyone is taking full damage here. And here you can see with ally protection, the sum is almost 200k less damage taken by the entire team if you sum the damage everyone is taking.
Yeah.
So you are taking 23% of all the damage your team is taking, and you are just throwing it out of the window. It just gone. It doesn't. It literally disappeared. No one takes this 23% damage.
That's crazy. So yeah, I think I'll have to agree with you on your theory. They definitely realized what ally protection is, and they had to make it like this, because if no, it would have made no sense to have ally protection in the game. So 100%, yes. I do think it's not bad coding from them here. It's actually more of a thing that was a must to do, you know, in order for ally protection to exist as a buff. If no, it would have been pretty useless, especially with the way we're able to build champions. We would have had we needed to have 200 plus k HP and 10k defense champions in order to survive and go on with this. So
yeah. And the second thing that can make your ally protection champions way stronger as well and more useful is by putting the right defense number. So the defense mitigates the damage that you take by quite a lot. The magic number is 4k200. So 4k200 is a good spot, because more than 4k200 you mitigate just a little bit for a lot of defense. So you can see this is 20% damage taken, so 80% damage reduction with 4,200 defense. Here I have 5,200 defense, and it is only 2% less. So
not worth it.
4k and 200 is the sweet spot.
So you would want to push as much HP as possible then, right? Even if you have defense down on your champions, like in terms of arena, for example. Let's just say I'm building my Ursaga Warcaller, right? We're going to go with Guardian set, which kind of works like ally protection. And it's no point for me to go crazy amount of defense on her, right? Regardless, I want to go more HP, because if I'll have 6,000 defense and 100k HP, it's not going to be as beneficial as having, for example, 120k HP and 4.5k defense, for example. Something like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And one strategy that I am using with my Ursuga is I'm using her with 3k defense, which is low, but I use Seeker, because Seeker puts increased defense. So 3k defense with increased defense is 4,600. So I go over the sweet spot. I go kind of to the sweet spot, and I don't have to build her with crazy defense as well. So I can focus more and more on HP. But the magic thing is I have low defense on the other champions. So you can see 2,600 and 2,100 here. And you can see that the damage mitigation is way lower, because this is the damage that they are taking.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy here is taking 35% of the damage, and my protector is taking 20. But what happens is the damage that the protector takes, this guy takes, is mitigated by his own defense.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy that has very low defense takes half of the damage, and like you can see, like half of the full damage.
Mm-hmm.
Then it mitigates this half of the damage by 65%. It only takes 35%. And the other half of the damage goes to the protector in form of raw damage, and then it's applied by his own defense. So you benefit a lot by having high defense on your ally protected guy, because on the ally protector guy, because this will mitigate even more damage. So you can see here with all these defenses, I take this damage on each champion without ally protection, and the sum is 200k damage. And you can already see the impact of defense, because this is full damage, is 800k, and now with defense applied, we have 200k. But when I apply ally protection, as my protector has high defense, I go to the sum of the damages, and I go 155k, and this is 29% of the damage just gone. It is
Disappear.
Bro, it's 29% of the damage just throw out the window. Like, no one takes this 29% damage. This is why ally protection is so crazy to me.
Yeah, crazy stuff happening there. That's why the Guardian set feels so broken on some of the champions in the game, because of the way it interacts with everything and all the damage that gets thrown away, guys. So definitely consider on keeping good ally protection champions. Use ally protection champions because they're awesome overall. And for example, we have that sweet spot of 4,200 defense, right? When we apply defense down in arena, for example, that will bring us to half of it, right? So we kind of want to have a crazy high defense in order to be in the swift spot, even if we have that defense down, right? So we would potentially want to have around 8,000 defense to still be around the same sweet spot with the defense down, right?
Yes, you will probably need, I'm calculating it right now. It is 7,100.
That's how much
it is
defense.
the optimal spot. Yes. If you have 7,100 defense, even with defense down, you are still with 4,260 defense. So you are still in the sweet spot. So you can consider it like you're not being affected by defense down.
That's awesome. So that's good to know for you guys. You gotta make super tanky champions, right? But at the same time, don't go overboard with the defense and HP, because it's still very important to have high HP on your ally protection champions in order to stay strong there.
Yeah, I mean, taking this in consideration, like you don't have to build your let's say Duchess with 10k defense. It is pointless to build 10k defense, because even with defense down, you're still in a very good spot if you have 7k, for example.
Yeah. So that's literally like the strong point where you want to be. From there on, you really gotta push towards HP and stuff. That's some good stuff to know around, guys. So if we're gonna go in a clan boss run quickly, for example, right? So that's my Ursaga. I'm pretty much in the sweet spot with my defense, more or less. I'm at 4.7k, almost 4.8, but then 120k HP. So she's pretty tanky the way she is. But once I have that defense down, she's not really in that sweet spot anymore, you know? So a bit of more defense on her would not be bad. But if we go in clan boss, for example, guys, so look, we have this powerful team here. We have Septimus and Krisk. Just to kind of show you a bit what's happening here. The same way it works with the crit damage debuff. So that would be nice to have it on your own champions. I would love to have crit damage debuff on Krisk while I'm doing clan boss, because that means he'll be getting less damage overall. It sounds pretty weird, but that's kind of the way it would work, right? So
yes,
unfortunately we cannot land that on Krisk. we cannot put that debuff. But if we buff the crit damage, we'll be getting more damage, right? That's mainly the idea. If we buff crit damage, we get more damage from the clan boss on the champion. So you don't want to have that as a buff in clan boss. That's a bad thing.
Yeah. If you have an ally protection champion, you probably don't want anything with crit damage on your champions, for sure. Yeah, so at least, actually, for no one to get confused, you do want crit damage on your damage dealers, but you don't want crit damage on your ally protection guy, because he will take more damage if he has more crit damage.
So basically, guys, I kind of heard this from some of you guys. Skratch, why you have so much crit damage on your Krisk, for example, right? Because he's a defense based, I want him to deal damage, but then it kind of cripples the team. So basically, I do want to have crit damage on all the rest of the champions. And yeah, if you use champions like Altan, you use champions like Brogni, you use champions like Valkyrie or Martyr, having 4.2k defense is kind of where the damage mitigation stops. But that doesn't mean that having 5k defense won't help your champions to deal more damage, right? Because the more defense you have, the more damage they deal overall. So that's not a bad thing to have. But the main idea is, if you're pushing for survivability, going over 4.2k defense is not going to be as useful anymore. So you can focus on different stats like crit rate, getting your accuracy, HP, speed, crit damage. But when you're building your ally protection champion, you want to avoid at any cost crit damage set. So I'm going to show you right here. We're going to put ally protection on the champion. It's pretty hard to show you the numbers because we got to run on the same level multiple times, and we do have the 20% damage difference that everybody deals in this game is something like this called RNG, right? So it's pretty hard to demonstrate it. But if you look at the damage, he's getting 39 damage, 1000, so how it comes in play from the ally protection and the masteries, right? So it's not a big damage. But if we would have more crit damage on the champion, right? Like let's just say 200 more crit damage, on this turn, he would be getting way more damage than he just got right now. That's the main idea. So get super low crit damage on your ally protection champion. So Versal, for example, if you want him to actually protect, get low crit damage on him. I know he can hit pretty hard if you have multiple CC debuffs on the enemy team, but then he's gonna take lots of crit damage and die earlier, basically.
Yeah, well, what I would advise is put crit rate instead. If you want your ally protection to deal damage, put crit rate. Well, low crit damage, doesn't matter. Put some crit rate, so he will always crit on the enemy, on the clan boss. But if you put more crit damage, you are doing more damage, but you are also doing more damage to yourself. But crit rate doesn't affect how many crit hits you are getting, because the clan boss needs to hit you in order to get affected by the crit damage. So if you have more crit rates, you can deal more critical hits instead of dealing bigger critical hits. More critical hits in this case is better than bigger critical hits.
Mm-hmm.
And another curiosity about ally protection is raw damage. It is fixed damage. So this RNG that you called, it does not apply to ally protection.
Okay, I'm actually curious because I'm not very into depth into this RNG that I just called. I can't even remember if it's 20%, 25%. I always forget.
I think it
right?
Is.
20%,
yeah,
right?
I think it is 20%. Yeah. So when someone hits you, there is a 20% variation in the damage. Like I talked about 49k from my Trenda, but can be like up to 55 and down to 35 or 40, let's say. But the damage that the ally protector takes, it is always the same. It's always half of the raw damage, and it does not apply the RNG. So you can always calculate it and see exactly how much damage you're taking.
So basically, I was actually able to test what I was just saying. So I could go back on turn 3, for example, and check the damage with buff the crit damage and without, and I'll actually see the exact numbers, because that variable RNG is only calculating the raw damage without other adds to it, right? Basically.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know, because you say I didn't know the raw damage situation and the variable in damage. So that's basically your total attack with the multiplier of the skill, right? So that can
Yeah,
justify
that's it.
why you always have different numbers when you're using the same skill on the same enemy, and you always see different numbers, and you're like, what's happening? Why is my champion dealing less damage? Why is it dealing more damage now? You know. So of course it is the masteries as well, the Helm Smasher proccing or not proccing, but the rest of it is still not taken in consideration. Like the Heart of Glory, Ruthless Ambush, Bring It Down is literally just the raw damage. Multiplier, multiply with attack, that gives you the total damage, and that's gonna be a 20% up and down of the damage you can get, correct?
Yes, but the ally protector will take damage without any RNG. So it is raw damage, half of the raw damage per champion that it is protecting, and that's it. There is
That's
no
it. No
variation.
variation there. That's good to know.
Yeah,
That's
so
how you were actually able to make the calculator, because with the variation you were unable, correct?
yes, that's it. That's it. That was the start of the calculator, because I could like see the numbers, and I saw that the numbers were exactly the same, because the numbers that go up, like it was a big number, which is the damage that my Toragi were taking from the hit, and then there were four exactly equal numbers going up, and I was like, oh, that's very interesting, because why is this the exact equal number, the same number going up from four different champions with different defenses, with different gear, with different masteries? Why it is the same damage? And then I started going to search it and test it and find some stuff by like testing.
And guys, here we have the calculator where you can actually calculate the damage that your team takes. So we're gonna leave Young to actually explain us a bit how is everything working on his beautiful creation here. And by the way, you can actually make yourself a copy. I will be leaving the link in the description down below so you can actually make yourself a copy if needed. No need to request for permission, guys. Just go and make a copy on it, and that's how you're gonna be able to use it, you know. So Young, you wanna explain us a bit how this thing works?
Yes. Before I go into it, I already apologize because the version 3.0 will be coming, and on the version of 3.0, it will have all the calculations for ally protection here. But unfortunately, I don't have an automatic way to calculate how much damage your protector will take from the ally protection. But it will come in the same link and stuff. But this you can apply all the things for your champions, the champions that you're using, the HP that your champions have, auras, affinities, difficulties. If you remove the increased attack buff from the clan boss, you can put on where the buffs on your champions are applied. Like here in this comp, the champions have increased buff on AoE 1 and increased defense on AoE 1 and AoE 2. So you can put on strengthen, veils, X-ray reduction if you have some X-ray reduction. Most of the passives are already in the calculator, like Duchess, for example. It is all already in the calculator. You don't have to put it here. Stalwart sets, masteries, you can check the box here. So it applies all the damage mitigation that you have. If you go down, you can see turn by turn. So on the AoE 1, this is the total defense of your champions. That's why I can put like 2,700 defense on my Brogni and still have 5k defense on the AoE 1 because it is being applied the increased defense buff. So the damage mitigation, I go actually over the sweet spot for defense.
Yeah.
I have shields, ally protection stuff, and this is how much damage I am taking on my champions. So if you remember, we are talking like, oh, you take 1 million and stuff damage. Well, you will only take 8% of this damage if you apply all the damage mitigations before. So
that will be a huge reduction in damage, like crazy.
Yeah. And that's how you can survive like 100 turns. You have to, you need like 94% damage mitigation in order to do this. Like you can see here, Martyr only takes 6.93% damage from the clan boss. And this is how she is able to survive. This number here is actually a very nice number to see. It is how much pure damage your champion needs to take in order to die in a single turn. So my martyr would need to take 1,049,000 damage to die, pure damage to die in a single turn.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, like the survivability goes way up if you apply all the damage mitigation stuff. And this is not even with strengthen and veil and, like, let's say Duchess passive.
Yeah,
so
to
if
have,
you
to
apply,
have everything in play, that would be crazy.
yeah, if you apply like here, let's say strengthen, and let's say you have perfect veil on your martyr, you would need 1,600,000 damage to die in a single turn.
That's crazy. And the damage reduction goes down, and she only takes 4.42% damage, which is crazy, huh?
Crazy, and
crazy.
Since we are talking about ally protection, let me remove the ally protection so we can see. Bam, 800k damage to die.
Wow, half. That's crazy.
Yes, that's how much damage ally protection is mitigating in this case. And as we talked about, this 800k damage that she is getting protected by, the protector in this case is Toragi, he is only taking like 20k damage. And then applying all the damage mitigations to this 20k instead of the 800k.
Gotcha.
It is insane, bro.
It's crazy, all these codings and stuff, how they're making things work, you know? Very interesting. And here as well, guys, the damage multipliers, you see them here on the screen.
Yes.
How he explained me before, the only thing that he was not able to put on is to calculate the stun damage with ally protection, because that depends by the HP of your champions and stuff, right?
Oh no, actually, if you put the HP right on the other tab, the damage here is exactly.
Is it? Yeah,
right.
It's calculated. That's awesome then. So you get everything up and running, if you're writing it correctly.
And here it is some interesting stats on the clan boss. Most people don't know that the clan boss has almost 7k attack, for example.
I didn't know that because I never looked honestly into it.
Yeah, and the multipliers for AoE 1 and 2 on Void, it is AoE 1, which is A2 of the clan boss, is 4 times the attack, and the AoE 2, which is the A1 of the clan boss, is 3 times the attack. And here you have the multipliers for every single turn up to the turn 100. I will be expanding it to turn 150 soon, but this is the multipliers. And here you can see exactly how much damage your champions will be taking each and every turn, except the ally protection damage from the ally protection. This is only... You can only see this damage on the other tab, on the calculator tab. But yeah, you can see, if you go down, you can see where your team starts to die.
And is any sort of RNG that can play a role in here, like that can keep your team alive longer? It is, yeah? Yeah,
for sure. There's two are better RNGs that can happen. The first one is the 20% damage variation that we're talking about earlier. Like, this is like medium damage. Like, I cannot see how the damage variation will work. It can be on Brogni here. It can be 1k up to 1k and 300 damage. I cannot calculate this. It's impossible. And the other thing is critical damage. Like, there is always 15% chance that you will get crit on turn 30, which is the turn that you is comfortably alive, and then suddenly you just die because of a critical hit.
Understood. And this is, I think, is just more of a RNG situation that's always happening. But it seems to me that always the inner champions, you know, you have the lead, then you have position 1, position 2, position 2 and position 3, and you have position 4 and 5. It always feels like position 4 and 5 are always taking somehow more damage than the outside ones. That just looks to me, is always looking the same way when I'm doing a non-unkillable team. I'm always like, damn, these champions, they always seem to be taking more damage. I know it's just RNG, but it always looks like that, man. And I'm always saying like something dodgy is happening here, but it's not. Yeah, I just had to say that because it's fun.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel the same way, but I have not found anything that makes this true yet. But maybe one day I will, because I feel the same way, bro.
I know, right? It does feel like something is happening there, but then I don't think it is. I think it's just RNG happening most of the times there.
Yeah, but we thought that ally protection would take 50% of the damage and just throw at the guy that is protecting, but that is not the case. Maybe there is some strange coding, like the first champion is less likely to take a critical damage hit or something like this.
That we
don't know,
can't
bro.
see. Yeah, that we cannot see. It might be. It might be.
Coding in this game, like I don't know.
I suck. I suck completely at coding. I'm clueless, you know. So you guys are pulling all this stuff, the majority of things like the text and stuff from data mining, right? Or you're actually calculating them yourself?
No, I got this data mine from Reddit. I don't even remember the post or anything because it was like
old,
9 months ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got all this data mining. Actually, I got the data mining for the multipliers, for the AoEs, and for the attacks. But all the other multipliers that you see in this column, I did it just by calculating it myself.
Gotcha. And how long it took you to create all this stuff, man? This is personal curiosity here.
The first version of this calculator was way simpler. It was just to calculate the survivability value that we see in the other tab. It did not have all these AoE 1 and AoE 2 and stun and how much turns will you survive. I did not have those data mining data that we see in the other tab. It took me like something like 2 weeks. But this other one, I think it took me 2 weeks as well, but it was way more intense, and it was 3 months after the first version, because like I needed the inspiration to create it in a good way to use it, and in these 3 months, I created a lot of things that in this 15 day that I made the calculator, I just implemented because I had already done it. So yeah, it was a lot of work for sure. And it will be way more work for the new one.
I bet it is, man, because looking at it, there's so much stuff going on, you know, like, damn.
Yeah. But it is actually simple to use, because you just put your
details, like your
details here. You put your, like, when the buffs are being applied and the masteries, and voila, that's it.
And it's pretty nicely explained on the side as well, guys. So you have the arrows, everything, what's happening, and what is everything going is on the other side, right? So it is explaining you what exactly you gotta do to see it in action. But guys,
and if you were very, very, very bad at using it, you can check out the video that is linked up here. It is in English because I do have a channel in English now. I only have like 4 videos there, but one of the videos is me explaining all the things about this calculator.
Awesome. So guys, I will be leaving the links in the description down below. Make sure you head over and check out iAanG. He has an awesome channel, awesome content. We definitely learned something new here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. You learned something new at least. And we will be trying to do something crazy. And yeah, it will be me and him. So probably, if that works, next week you're going to see another video with me and him talking about a different sort of situation here. Because he put me onto some work here. So I'm definitely gonna try it. I'm not giving you any sneak peek information, but we're going to see about it next week. iAanG, awesome to have you here on the channel, buddy. Great pleasure for you. Great for you taking the time to join us here and explain us the calculator, the ally protection, and everything in the coding and how it works. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Peace out, guys, and have a good one.